1. Living sincerely and honesty, the art of Stoicism in everyday life. In the tumultuous modern world, we are often caught up in a vortex of lies and false masks that society forces us to wear. But amidst that chaos, the Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius appears as a guiding light, reminding us of the value of sincerity and honesty. Living sincerely and honestly is a moral principle and a challenging way of life that requires courage and steadfastness. Imagine walking in the middle of a dense forest where every tree races to reach the sky for no purpose other than to stay true to yourself. You will see that each tree is unique. No two trees are the same, but they all share the same essence, honesty with their natural nature. Likewise, when living sincerely, people will find peace and freedom in their souls, not bound by artificial illusions imposed by society. The great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius is a living testament to this philosophy. Even though he held supreme power, he always kept himself a sincere and honest heart. In his book Reflections, he wrote, "Don't let yourself become harsh because of what others do. Always be true to yourself." This quote serves as a reminder that sincerity is not only about not lying, but also about living according to your actual values and nature. Living sincerely and honestly requires us to dare to face the truth, even though it can sometimes hurt us. It is recognizing and accepting your mistakes, not hesitating to admit when you are wrong, and being willing to learn from them. In a world where hiding and justifying errors is common, honesty becomes a brave and honorable act. Stoicism, with its philosophy of living simply and being satisfied with what we have, also advises us to live sincerely and honestly. When we no longer chase frivolous desires, we will see that sincerity is the source of internal strength that helps us face all challenges in life. By being true to ourselves, we find peace of mind and build trust and respect from others. A sincere person will always know their limits and not try to appear like someone else. They will learn how to acknowledge their abilities, not to be arrogant humbly, but also not to have low self-esteem. They will know that living honestly is not to please everyone, but to live true to their nature. And that sincerity will attract other sincere people to them, creating lasting and trustworthy relationships. Being truthful and honest also means knowing how to listen to others with all your heart. When you listen to others sincerely, you will see that everyone has their own stories, feelings, and dreams. You will learn how to empathize and share and, from there, build more profound and more meaningful relationships. Stoicism teaches us that life is too short to live in pretense. Let sincerity and honesty guide you like a lighthouse in the night. When you live true to yourself, without embellishment or pretense, you will find life lighter, and that sincerity will attract sincere people to you. That is how Stoicism teaches us to live and become honorable and lovable. Remember that sincerity and honesty are reliable companions in challenging moments. They will help you stand firm in all storms, creating resilient bravery and a peaceful heart. Live sincerely because that is the path to true happiness and respect in everyone's eyes. 2. Self-control of emotions. Negative emotions often sweep us away amid worries and work pressures in modern life. Have you ever felt like an oil lamp being knocked down by the wind in the fierce storm of life? That's when you need a master to guide you, and there's no one better than Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and prominent Stoic philosopher, to teach us the lesson of emotional self-control. Many people often think of rigid, dry philosophies when discussing Stoicism, but this is a practical and lively school of philosophy, helping people face and overcome psychological challenges in life. With his reflections in Meditations, Marcus Aurelius conveyed a strong message about the importance of controlling emotions. He believes that negative emotions are like fierce waves at sea. If we don't know how to control the boat of life, we will quickly be submerged. Imagine driving a car on a long road and suddenly encountering a storm. What will you do? Most people would panic, the steering wheel would lose direction, and the car could overturn. But if you stay calm, hold the steering wheel, and slowly drive through the storm, you will see that everything is not as scary as you thought. Emotions are the same. When faced with difficult situations, if you let negative emotions dominate, you will quickly lose control and do things you will regret. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are suffering from anything external, the suffering is not caused by the thing itself, but by how you react to it, and you can completely change the way you react." This is the key to emotional self-control. Instead of letting negative emotions overwhelm you, learn to observe and understand them. When you realize that emotions are just temporary reactions of the mind, you will be able to control them more effectively. Once, during an important meeting, I encountered an unexpected situation. A colleague gave conflicting opinions, making me feel frustrated and angry. But instead of letting my anger flare up, I remembered the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. I took a deep breath, stayed calm, and listened. As a result, we had a constructive discussion and found a better solution to the problem. If I hadn't controlled my emotions, the meeting could have turned into a meaningless argument. Self-control of emotions is not about suppressing or denying them, but about learning to live with them wisely. Imagine you are a farmer tending the garden of your soul. When anger, anxiety, or sadness appear, they are growing weeds. Instead of letting them spread and take over your garden, gently pull them out and plant seeds of peace, gratitude, and love. Stoicism teaches us how to control our emotions and encourages us to live meaningful and fulfilling lives. Let Marcus Aurelius's teachings be your guide in life. When you learn to control your feelings, you will realize that life becomes lighter, relationships with people around you improve, and most importantly, you will feel happy and satisfied. So next time damaging emotions strike, remember the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism. Stay calm, control your emotions, and continue moving forward on your life's path. You will see that self-control of your feelings helps you gain respect and admiration from others, but also enables you to live a more peaceful and happy life. 3. Treat everyone fairly. How would you feel if you were one day being mistreated? Indeed, you would feel hurt and disappointed. So always remember, what you don't want others to do to you, don't do to them. Treat us fairly because each of us has our value and deserves respect. I am sharing one of the most important values I learned from Stoicism: treating everyone fairly. Let the teachings of Marcus Aurelius be your action guide. When you treat others fairly, you not only improve other people's lives, but also enrich your values. Therefore, fair treatment is a duty and a way to show love and respect for each other. You will see that you will receive the best things in life when you live with fairness. Let fairness be your guiding light, and you will realize how much more beautiful life is when people treat each other with respect and fairness. I hope you will carry the message of fairness and apply it to your daily life. Remember, each of your acts of justice brings joy to others and makes this world a better place. Please join me on this mission, because fairness is the foundation of a happy and meaningful life. 4. Live simply. Living simply. How do you feel? Living means giving up material pleasures and luxuries to choose an ascetic life. But that's not it, my friend. Living simply doesn't mean you must give up all the good things life offers. That is the art of living that Marcus Aurelius, one of the famous philosophers of Stoicism, passed down to us. How do you feel when you have to rush and be busy pursuing meaningless goals and virtual values every day? Have you ever wondered why you have to race in this life without knowing what you are looking for? Stoicism teaches us that happiness does not lie in having many things, but appreciating what we have and living with gratitude. Have you ever looked at the deep blue sky, breathed fresh air, and felt peace in your heart? That is the moment of simple living that Stoicism promotes. Living simply is not about giving up everything but choosing meaningful things. How would you feel if you lived every day honestly and freely, not bound by frivolous things? That is the feeling that Marcus Aurelius experienced when he wrote his philosophical diary entries in Thoughts. Stoicism teaches us that living means focusing on spiritual values instead of material things. Sitting with your family, eating a simple meal together but full of laughter and warmth, you will realize that happiness comes from the most minor things. How do you feel when you live in the love and care of your loved ones? That is true simplicity that nothing can replace. You have things that don't have to be expensive or luxurious to bring joy. A good book, an afternoon walk in the park, or simply a warm cup of tea by the window makes you feel satisfied and happy. Stoicism reminds us that true wealth lies in gratitude and peace of mind. Life becomes lighter and more meaningful when you learn to accept and be satisfied with what you have. How do you feel when you live each day consciously, not caught up in the whirlwinds of ambition and competition? That is precisely what Marcus Aurelius wanted us to achieve through a simple lifestyle. Living simply helps you find peace in your soul, helping you understand that happiness is not a distant destination, but a journey you are on. How would you feel if you started applying a simple lifestyle to your daily life? Try looking back at the core values you are pursuing, letting go of unnecessary pressures, and focusing on the essential things. You will see that life becomes more pleasant, everything becomes clear, and you will feel true freedom in your soul. In conclusion, Stoicism wants to convey the message that a simple, free life, not dominated by material values, is the way to live. Living is not only a lifestyle but also an art, a way to find ourselves and live meaningful and fulfilling lives. Feel and experience. You will find happiness simpler than you think. 5. Learn to listen. Learning to listen is one of the most essential qualities that Stoicism promotes. How do you feel when others listen to you sincerely? It's a feeling of being respected, understood, and most of all, of feeling like you matter. However, some believe that listening is an unnecessary skill in an age where speed and efficiency are paramount. They think it only wastes time and brings no practical benefits. Let's analyze and refute this point of view convincingly. First, there is the idea that listening is just a passive act and does not help personal development. These people argue that it is essential to focus on expressing one's point of view and finding ways to persuade others. However, how do you feel if others talk but don't listen? Stoicism teaches that listening helps us better understand the world and ourselves. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you want to improve, accept the truth even if it comes from an undesirable source." Listening helps us learn from others and improve and develop ourselves. We can only understand things clearly when we listen to others sincerely. Some people believe that listening can cause us to lose control of the conversation and be influenced by other people's opinions. But how do you feel when a dialogue becomes more productive and valuable through mutual listening? Stoicism asserts that listening is an art. Through it, we can control our emotions better, remaining calm and alert in all situations. Instead of viewing listening as a loss of control, we see it as a way to show respect and empathy for others. Another view is that in the modern working environment, listening does not bring high work efficiency. They believe that speed and efficiency are the deciding factors for success. But think about it. How would you feel working in an environment where people don't listen to each other? Listening helps create a working environment of cooperation and mutual understanding, improving work performance. Stoicism teaches that patience and the ability to listen lead to deeper understanding and better decisions. It is not speed or imposition, but cooperation and mutual understanding that creates sustainable success. Some people believe that listening is a sign of weakness and that strong people don't need to listen to anyone. However, Stoicism thinks that listening is a sign of wisdom and courage. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, Wise people always listen and learn from everyone, even those less knowledgeable than themselves. Listening does not reduce your strength. On the contrary, it helps you become more comprehensive and wise. How would you feel if you received valuable lessons and fresh perspectives every time you listened? So, listening is a skill and an essential quality in Stoicism. How would you feel if you practiced and applied this skill every day in your life? Just imagine you create deeper relationships, are more productive at work, and most importantly, become a more knowledgeable and wiser person. Listening is the key to understanding others and the path to understanding yourself. 6. Accept and learn from mistakes. How do you feel when you make a mistake? You may feel embarrassed, disappointed, or even want to give up. But there are things that we only learn through mistakes. Embracing and learning from mistakes is an essential aspect of life, and it is also one of the core principles of Stoicism. I'm here to explore why it's so important to accept and learn from mistakes and what we get from them. Let's start with a simple example from everyday life. How do you feel when you cook and the dish doesn't turn out as expected? You may feel frustrated and blame yourself, but you think wrongly that it is useless. Every cooking failure is an opportunity to understand better how to adjust the fire, seasoning, and cooking time. Why do I tell you this? Because of those mistakes, you will learn and become more proficient in cooking. Another example from work. Imagine you are a new employee and do an essential report for the first time but encounter many errors. How do you feel? You may feel incompetent and worry about your superior's evaluation. But see this as an opportunity to learn. You will receive feedback from colleagues and superiors, thereby better understanding job requirements and how to implement them more effectively. This is the spirit of Stoicism, constantly learning and improving yourself from your mistakes. You have things that you cannot learn from books or other people's advice, but you can only learn from practical experience and your own mistakes. Marcus Aurelius, one of the famous Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "The mistake is not in falling, but in not getting up after falling." How would you feel if you saw it as a valuable lesson and an opportunity to grow every time you stumble? That's how we should view mistakes, not as something to fear, but as stepping stones to self-improvement. Another real-life example is when learning a foreign language. How do you feel when you mispronounce or use grammatically incorrect words? At first, you may be shy and afraid of saying the wrong thing in front of others, but you think wrong when that shyness makes you not dare to try anymore. Every time you make a mistake, it is an opportunity for you to understand the language better, improve your skills, and be more confident in communication. Why do I tell you this? Because I want you to realize that mistakes are not our enemy, but our best teachers. To illustrate further, look at the lives of successful entrepreneurs. How do you feel when you hear stories about their failures? There are things that you can only learn when you dare to face failure and learn from it. Before succeeding with Apple, Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. However, he did not let that mistake defeat him. Instead, he learned, developed, and returned stronger. This is the spirit of Stoicism: patience, not giving up, and always seeking to learn from mistakes. Finally, I share with you that accepting and learning from mistakes is an indispensable part of life. How would you feel if you saw every mistake as an opportunity to grow? You will find life easier. You will be more confident in every step. And most importantly, you will constantly develop and improve yourself. Stoicism teaches us that mistakes are not the end, but rather stop on the long road of growth and success. 7. Patience and perseverance. Oh my goodness, how does it feel to be patient and persistent in your daily life every time? You'll probably sigh, feel discouraged, and want to give up. You know, patience and perseverance are indispensable qualities to achieve success and happiness. With its golden principles, Stoicism always upholds the value of patience and perseverance in all circumstances. Explore with me and think about what we can learn from being patient and persistent. Here's the thing. Patience and perseverance are not innate qualities that we can easily acquire. Guess what? You must go through many challenges and difficulties to truly understand and apply them. How do you feel when you have to wait for something for so long? You may be impatient, frustrated, and want to give up. But imagine, if you are patient and don't give up, you will get great results. You probably won't believe it, but the story of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, is a living testament to the value of patience and perseverance. He failed thousands of times before finding the formula for success. Oh my God, suddenly you realize that without patience and persistence, perhaps the world today would lack such an important invention. Edison once said, "I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." How do you feel about his incredible perseverance? Patience and perseverance are about waiting, maintaining effort, and not giving up. You'll never guess, but your persistence will be rewarded one day. Oh, you may have heard the story of a marathon runner. He went through hours of training and faced injuries and failures, but he did not give up. And then, one fine day, he crossed the finish line with pride and happiness. How do you feel when faced with the successes you created through patience and perseverance? Suddenly, you may think that patience and perseverance are too far away and challenging to achieve. But you know, Stoicism teaches us that anything is possible if we keep trying. Marcus Aurelius, one of the famous philosophers of Stoicism, once wrote, "Strength does not come from victory. Your struggles develop your strength. When you go through difficulties and make decisions, don't give up. That's strength." If you apply patience and perseverance to your daily life, you will find that everything becomes more accessible. You will not be pressured by time or temporary difficulties. Instead, you will learn to face them more calmly and confidently. How does it feel to know that anything can be overcome if you persevere? Another real-life example is when learning a foreign language. How do you feel when you mispronounce or use grammatically incorrect words? At first, you may be shy and afraid of saying the wrong thing in front of others. But you think wrong when that shyness makes you not dare to try anymore. Every time you make a mistake, it is an opportunity for you to understand the language better, improve your skills, and be more confident in communication. Why do I tell you this? Because I want you to realize that mistakes are not our enemy, but our best teachers. To illustrate further, look at the lives of successful entrepreneurs. How do you feel when you hear stories about their failures? There are things that you can only learn when you dare to face failure and learn from it. Before succeeding with Apple, Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. However, he did not let that mistake defeat him. Instead, he learned, developed, and returned stronger. This is the spirit of Stoicism: patience, not giving up, and always seeking to learn from mistakes. Finally, I share with you that accepting and learning from mistakes is an indispensable part of life. How would you feel if you saw every mistake as an opportunity to grow? You will find life easier. You will be more confident in every step. And most importantly, you will constantly develop and improve yourself. Stoicism teaches us that mistakes are not the end, but rather stop on the long road of growth and success. 7. Patience and perseverance. Oh my goodness, how does it feel to be patient and persistent in your daily life every time? You'll probably sigh, feel discouraged, and want to give up. You know, patience and perseverance are indispensable qualities to achieve success and happiness. With its golden principles, Stoicism always upholds the value of patience and perseverance in all circumstances. Explore with me and think about what we can learn from being patient and persistent. Here's the thing. Patience and perseverance are not innate qualities that we can easily acquire. Guess what? You must go through many challenges and difficulties to truly understand and apply them. How do you feel when you have to wait for something for so long? You may be impatient, frustrated, and want to give up. But imagine, if you are patient and don't give up, you will get great results. You probably won't believe it, but the story of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, is a living testament to the value of patience and perseverance. He failed thousands of times before finding the formula for success. Oh my God, suddenly you realize that without patience and persistence, perhaps the world today would lack such an important invention. Edison once said, "I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." How do you feel about his incredible perseverance? Patience and perseverance are about waiting, maintaining effort, and not giving up. You'll never guess, but your persistence will be rewarded one day. Oh, you may have heard the story of a marathon runner. He went through hours of training and faced injuries and failures, but he did not give up. And then, one fine day, he crossed the finish line with pride and happiness. How do you feel when faced with the successes you created through patience and perseverance? Suddenly, you may think that patience and perseverance are too far away and challenging to achieve. But you know, Stoicism teaches us that anything is possible if we keep trying. Marcus Aurelius, one of the famous philosophers of Stoicism, once wrote, "Strength does not come from victory. Your struggles develop your strength. When you go through difficulties and make decisions, don't give up. That's strength." If you apply patience and perseverance to your daily life, you will find that everything becomes more accessible. You will not be pressured by time or temporary difficulties. Instead, you will learn to face them more calmly and confidently. How does it feel to know that anything can be overcome if you persevere? Many quickly give up their principles in this turbulent world for short-term benefits. It could be a job with a higher salary or a beneficial relationship. But what happens when you lose yourself in that never-ending race? You will feel empty and disoriented. Suddenly you realize that everything around you is meaningless if you don't live true to your core values. Imagine facing a problematic situation, choosing between sticking to your principles and compromising to achieve something. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor and philosopher, once said, "Integrity is the foundation of the good life." If you stick to your principles, you will lead a respectable life and be respected by others. One day, you are suddenly asked to participate in a highly profitable project that goes against your moral values. You would never guess that turning down that project, even though it seemed like a difficult decision, would bring you peace of mind and respect from your colleagues. Yes, you may feel lost at first, but don't forget that the values you hold on to will lead you to lasting and meaningful success. How would you feel if you stuck to your principles no matter what? Suddenly, you will realize that life has become more transparent and accessible. You don't have to worry about facing the consequences of decisions that go against your values. Stoicism teaches that living true to your principles helps you maintain peace and alertness in your soul. Try to look at examples of people who have lived true to their principles and values. They may not be the wealthiest, but they are always respected and admired. Guess what? Why is that so? Because they are always steadfast in what they believe in and never let external temptations shake their hearts. And then suddenly you will see that living true to your principles brings peace to your soul and helps you build sincere and lasting relationships. How does it feel when surrounded by people who respect and love you for who you indeed are? Oh, that is the feeling of true fulfillment and happiness. You probably won't believe it, but sticking to your principles and values will help you achieve successes you never expected. Stoicism is a philosophy of life and a guideline to help us live a fulfilling and meaningful life. And then you will see that nothing can replace the feeling of pride and happiness when you live true to yourself. 10. Don't judge others. You might not believe it, but Stoicism, an ancient philosophy of life, offers valuable lessons about how we should view and treat others. One of the most prominent aspects is not judging others. Imagine how much lighter and more meaningful our lives would be if we could live without judgment. You would never guess that many people find it necessary to judge others. They argue that judgment helps us distinguish right from wrong, helping society operate more orderly. But think about it. Are those judgments helpful, or just baseless prejudices that hurt others and ourselves? There are things that you feel are very clear, but why do I want to tell you that the truth is not always what it seems? Stoicism teaches that everyone has their own stories, pains, and difficulties that we cannot fully understand. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic emperor and philosopher, once wrote, "We cannot judge others because we do not know what they are going through." Think about it. How do you feel when someone judges you without understanding your situation? You will probably feel hurt and misunderstood. Then you will realize that judgment only creates distance and hostility. Stoicism advises us to put ourselves in other people's shoes and try to understand and sympathize rather than judge. Empathy and compassion can clear up misunderstandings and build stronger relationships. You would never guess that some people believe that not judging others is a sign of weakness and indecisiveness. They think that if we do not judge, we will quickly be taken advantage of and cannot protect our rights. But to be honest, Stoicism suggests the opposite. Non-judgment does not mean indecisiveness, but strength of spirit. It shows that you are confident enough not to be swayed by superficial judgments and brave enough to look at things objectively and fairly. Suddenly, you feel like everything becomes more apparent when you stop judging. You realize everyone is fighting their battles, and judgment only worsens things. Instead, try listening and learning, and you will see that tolerance and understanding can change the world around you. And then you will see that not judging others is an act of true freedom. It frees you from prejudices and the burden of always making judgments about others. You live more freely, focusing on self-improvement instead of criticizing others. That is the spirit of Stoicism. Live simply, not be bound by frivolous values, and find peace of mind. Imagine if we stopped judging and started understanding how the world would be much better. That is the message that Stoicism wants to convey. Non-judgment is a principle of life and an act of love and respect. How would you feel if you lived in such a world? You would feel much happier and more peaceful. 11. Confidence and humility. You probably won't believe it, but some things seem opposites that are ideal companions. Confidence and humility are a typical example. How do you feel when someone says confidence and humility cannot go together? You may think confidence is synonymous with arrogance, while humility is low self-esteem and lack of confidence. But think about it. Is that true? You'd never guess, but in Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius and other philosophers demonstrated that confidence and humility can blend beautifully and complement each other. Suddenly, confidence no longer means arrogance when combined with sincere humility. Confidence helps you know who you are and understand your values and abilities, while humility helps you keep your feet firmly on the ground, not be complacent, and not look down on others. Some views say modesty reduces one's confidence and power. But how do you feel when you realize that humility is the foundation for lasting confidence? Humility doesn't mean you must humble yourself. It means knowing how to listen, learn, and admit what you don't know. That is the true power of a confident person. You may encounter conflicting opinions that confident people will never be humble or admit mistakes. However, Stoicism teaches us that admitting mistakes is not a sign of weakness, but maturity and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his book Meditations, "We should not be ashamed to admit that we are wrong, for that is the path to improvement." Suddenly you realize that when you are confident and humble, you improve yourself and earn respect from others. Modestly confident people know how to listen to and respect other people's perspectives and hold their positions calmly and without conflict. There are things you think confidence must go hand in hand with strength and uncompromising. True confidence lies in daring to show courtesy and understanding. How do you feel when you see a confident person who always knows how to be humble in the face of life's infinite knowledge? That is the wisdom that Stoicism always emphasizes. Then, you will notice that the combination of confidence and humility helps you go further in life and brings peace of mind. Stoicism reminds us that living with confidence and humility is the best way to achieve lasting happiness and success. You'll never guess, but confidence and humility are the keys that open doors you never thought of. In conclusion, confidence and humility are not two opposing aspects but two sides of the same coin. How does it feel to know that you can be both confident and humble and still be successful and happy? That is the spirit of Stoicism, sincere confidence and authentic humility, together creating a meaningful and fulfilling life. 12. Keep your promise. Keeping promises. What do you think about someone always sticking to what they said? In modern life, some opinions are that keeping promises is no longer as important as before, and that flexibility and adaptation are the decisive factors for success in a world full of change and complexity. However, from the perspective of Stoicism, keeping promises is still a core and irreplaceable value, demonstrating credibility and trust and helping us build solid and trustworthy relationships. Trust. Some believe that keeping promises can hinder adapting to new and unexpected situations in today's business world. They argue that to survive and develop, we must change strategies, sometimes even abandoning initial commitments. But how do you feel when faced with partners or colleagues who don't keep their promises? This lack of stability and unreliability is truly the long-term harmful factor. Stoicism teaches us that keeping promises is not just a matter of honor, but also a way of showing respect and responsibility to others. Keeping your promises builds trust and credibility, which are critical factors in creating a productive and united work environment. Another view is that keeping promises is sometimes impossible due to external factors beyond our control. Yes, life is full of surprises, and we can't always predict everything. However, how do you feel when someone tries to keep their promise despite the difficulties? In those challenging moments, the actual value of keeping promises is revealed. Marcus Aurelius, an icon of Stoicism, once said that steadfastness and fidelity to one's principles are decisive in achieving serenity and happiness. Instead of making excuses to give up our commitments, we should learn to face them and find solutions to fulfill our promises. Some people also believe that keeping promises can put us in bondage and limit our freedom. They believe life should be flexible, not constrained by previously set commitments. However, how do you feel without stability and certainty in relationships? True freedom does not come from breaking free from commitments, but from voluntarily keeping them and feeling the power of trust. Stoicism encourages us to live meaningful lives and to consider and honor our commitments. Freedom comes from within, from the satisfaction and peace of mind of knowing that you have done the right thing. Finally, keeping promises is an act of respect, responsibility, and a way to affirm our self-worth. When you keep your promises, you build your reputation and contribute to building a more trustworthy and cohesive society. How does living in an environment where everyone keeps their promises and respects each other feel? That is the world in which Stoicism aims for trust and respect, which are core values. In conclusion, keeping promises is not an outdated concept or a hindrance to flexibility. It is an expression of loyalty, respect, and responsibility. Stoicism teaches us that keeping promises is how to live a meaningful life and achieve peace of mind. Keep your promises, not only for others, but also for yourself. 13. Continuously learn and develop. There is an ancient saying, Only change is never change. That's right. In life, nothing stands still. Everything moves and develops. Stoicism, especially the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, imparts this valuable lesson: continuous learning and development. This philosophy is a guideline in life and a path to true freedom, happiness, and success. Imagine a small stream in the middle of the forest, the water gurgling, weaving through each rock crevice, nourishing the plants and trees on both banks. If that stream stops flowing, the water will become turbid and no longer be surrounded by beautiful life. Humans are the same. If we stop learning, we will become stagnant, incompetent, and quickly forgotten. Learning is not only about accumulating knowledge, but also about expanding your horizons, improving yourself, and creating new values for life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it." Continuous learning and development help us react intelligently, flexibly, and full of bravery in all events of life. When faced with difficulties, instead of blaming fate, see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. A Stoic soul is not afraid of challenges, but sees challenges as a valuable lesson, a stepping stone to go further. Let's look back at our daily lives. We can learn from the most minor things: a conversation with a friend, a new book we read, or our mistakes. Sometimes, an unintentional sentence from someone can open up a new horizon for us, a different perspective on life. Learning is a process that has no end and no limit. A wise person is always confident with his knowledge, but always yearns to discover new things. Continuous development is also a journey of self-discovery, learning about your strengths and weaknesses to improve daily. It's like caring for a garden. We need to know which plants need a lot of light and which plants need regular watering. Each person has potential. Our task is to discover and develop them. When we know how to self-regulate, we will find joy in learning and growing, no longer seeing it as a burden or pressure. The best thing is that when we constantly learn and develop, we enrich ourselves and spread that value to those around us. A wise leader is one who continually learns from his teammates, from his failures and successes. A great teacher always finds ways to innovate lessons and learn from students and endless outside sources of knowledge. Our continuous development will be a source of inspiration and motivation for others to move forward. In short, continuous learning and growth are influential philosophies in Stoicism. They help us become strong and resilient in the face of all life's changes and allow us to live a life full of meaning and value. Always remember that every new day is an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve yourself. And as Marcus Aurelius once said, "We are what we continually do." So excellence is not an act, but a habit. Thank you very much for taking the time to accompany us on discovering Stoic philosophy. Hopefully, these shares will inspire and motivate you to go further in your journey of seeking knowledge and self-development. Continue to expand your horizons, discover new things, and never stop growing. It is your perseverance and effort that will create miracles and gain respect and admiration from others. I am wishing you success and happiness on the path you have chosen. See you again in the next shares.